Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Random Chatter. This is our review show for the week of, what is it, Valentine's week. This is the week
It is.
We recorded this on the 15th. We decided not to record on Valentine's Day because, well, no, we had other things happen. But, it was a holiday, so we didn't record. Now we're recording on President's Day, which is a holiday, too.
Which is a holiday.
So that argument holds
which we
no
care
water at
less
all.
about, which we love less than, get it? Because, I don't know. There was a joke there somewhere, but I can't find it.
So I think I did throw out a few bah humbug yesterday, to be fair.
Yeah, the love it or hate it holiday. The probably the single most divisive holiday.
Well, it's a made-up holiday, so yeah.
Yeah, all of them.
So that strange voice you heard was not our regular co-host of Tim. It is Carrie. Carrie, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Awesome.
Good. We had like 2-3 days of like gale force winds, which I know doesn't say much, considering I'm in California, and that's the closest we've had to weather in the last few days.
Weather is wind.
And dude over here is out shoveling snow.
Storms and snow.
Yeah, so your little ooh, it's windy thing. Yeah,
it doesn't really
not impressing us Northerners.
Well, it was windy enough to drive us back onto Zoom for Aikido last couple of days. So there was that.
Okay.
Talk about fair weather friends. It's windy, so we're going to go back on Zoom.
I know, right?
Well, because
how cold does it have to be before you get on Skype? Because Zoom is like...
my teacher has a Zoom account, not a Skype account, so that's what we're using for classes.
Okay.
Because it's more challenging and it's martial arts. So you have to confront that challenge, that overcoming that hurdle.
Well, normally during the week we're practicing in our parking lot because we still can't, be indoors and in full contact and stuff. So.
See, that's why a lot of restrictions have been, relaxed up here in the Northeast because it's cold. Nobody wants to be outside.
Nobody's going to be outside anyway. So, oh, if only the restrictions here were even being paid attention to. But that's a whole nother topic. Yeah, so Tim's not here.
Yeah. Different podcast.
Carrie has more hair than Tim, so
that's true.
She does.
That helps.
Yeah. No.
Team not bald.
Hair is overrated.
Hey.
It's over something except on your head.
Yes.
Lizzie is also not here tonight, probably in part because we're doing it on a different night of the week. But
yeah.
Yeah.
But let's get right into our reviews here. So we got a few things that we've all kind of seen, right? So two things in particular. One I've seen, one I haven't seen. So I'm looking forward to hearing about the second one here in a minute. But Little Things, sorry, we just covered on Movie Chatter. Mm-hmm. This is the movie that was in theaters and streaming on HBO Max. I think one of the first day and date releases of their schedule for 2021, their controversial schedule. Mm-hmm. This was, crime drama thriller starring Denzel Washington and Jared Leto and Rami Malek.
Yeah.
Yep. Have we all seen this? All three of us? Okay.
Yeah, I just saw it today, actually.
Oh, okay. So fresh in your mind. Awesome. So let's start with Carrie. I mean, we did cover this on Movie Chat a little bit, and Eric and I talked a little bit about it. What are your thoughts on The Little Things?
I liked it. I want to say it has a bit of the feel of Seven, but I haven't seen all of Seven.
Well, you should watch that this week because we're about to cover that on Movie Chatter.
Yeah.
I'll get around to it maybe eventually.
I'll get around. It's only been out for 30 years, Carrie.
Yeah, it was 95 that came out. 95.
Oh, was it?
I know. The list of things I haven't seen that I probably should are, taller than me, probably. And I'm short. But yeah, I liked it. I don't know. I was kind of ambiguous about the end of okay, so did they catch the guy?
The plot was ambiguous about the end too. It wasn't just you.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. So, yeah, it was interesting watching the locations around LA going, okay, where? Oh, that's near my apartment. Oh crap! That's nearby. That's like near my apartment.
She's over
now,
there like
but
locking her doors and.
in the 90s.
I used to have those same reactions watching Cops back in the 90s when I was living down in Fort Lauderdale. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah?
could buy that. Oh, wait, it's near my house. Damn it.
Well, also, like, because I know they've changed some of the freeway interfaces down here. So I'm just looking at this, going, wait, you can't get to that freeway from that on ramp. But okay, whatever.
You're overthinking it. You're like me with the mall scene at the beginning of Wonder Woman 84. Like, that's not where the Timeout arcade was. It was on the 3rd level, not the 2nd level. Man, this movie sucks.
Wait, actually, this is something I mentioned last night during DC Talk. Is if I hadn't known that they were filming that in DC, I would have thought that mall was in Glendale. Because I'm like, that color scheme, that floor layout, that's exactly the Glendale Galleria.
Oh wow!
What the heck?
No, it was literally it was the Landmark Mall up in, I think it's technically Alexandria in Northern Virginia, just outside of Washington D.C. I used to hang out there as a kid all the time.
I didn't hang out there. I didn't get over to the Glendale Galleria that much, but I was just saying, like, what is it with malls in the 80s all having the same color scheme?
It was the 80s. Everything was
the 80s, yeah.
Right. And yeah, to your point about ambiguous ending, when after the ending of the movie, you have to get on YouTube and you go check out the channels that you go to explain Inception and explain Primer and explain Tenet. And these guys are like, yeah, we don't know what just happened. then you know.
Yeah,
then you know that it was
written movie.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we talked about on Movie Chatter too. I won't spoil the episode of Movie Chatter because you should watch it. There's a lot of good in the movie, but one of the three of us, and we're not going to say who was who, but one of the three of us thought, it was pretty good but not great. One of us thought it was like right in the middle, and the other one was like literally angry when they were done with the film. Go check it out. I mean, if nothing else, the acting was incredible. The dialogue and like the interactions between the characters, very believable. And that was probably the best part of the movie. But it was really, if you're thinking about seeing it, I'm not going to tell you not to see it. Like it's a well-made movie. Just understand it is not what you think it is. Don't think of it as something like Seven. Don't think of it as a whodunit or like a crime noir. It's a character study about Denzel Washington's character. And if you're okay with that, you'll probably enjoy the movie enough to not regret watching it, and you'll be fine.
Right.
Yeah. It was all right. It was.
Yeah, it was all right.
Yep. I think I recommended people should see it. I mean, it was worth seeing. Yeah. It's just,
Yeah, that was our general consensus. But watch Movie Chatter for more.
Yeah.
Very
just
good.
Because.
Now, the other one I'm interested to take, because I have not seen this. The other one is The Watch. This is a new show on Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh, I'm not wearing my watch.
I've seen.
That would have been a funny joke if I had it on. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen ads for it, and I'm kind of curious, but nothing's hooked me enough to say I got to watch an episode.
So it's like if you combine.
Eric yelled at me for not telling him about it sooner.
Yeah, and then as I started watching it, I'm like, I'm not sold yet. Like it's kind of, if you combine the punk fringe people from the old Max Headroom show with what was I keep forgetting the name. There was an old RPG system where it was a combination of like D&D and cyberpunk. Shadowrun? Shadowrun. I spent like a week trying to remember that. So it feels like that, only like minus the tech. Like, so they've got guns and they've got like, there'll be security cameras outside the bars, but then you pop open the side of the security camera and it's like this little drunk gnome fairy thing, like painting like a moving picture on different sheets of paper. And like, that's the security footage. It's weird. It's weird in mostly a good way, but then it's also like the writing. I'm still having a hard time really getting hooked.
Well, okay. So here's the thing about The Watch. The Watch is based on the Terry Pratchett Discworld series. It's not even the full series.
Wait, it's based on Discworld?
It's based on Discworld. Yeah.
That's what Discworld is?
Yep.
All this time I've been thinking, I got to get that someday and read it, and then never did. Okay.
And the characters in The Watch aren't really even. I think not. I'm not that far into the series. I think they're all introduced in book 7.
Oh my
gosh! That's when they start talking about that. They start dealing with The Watch.
Talk about like a 6-book prelude. That's
well, wow. No, because there are dozens of books, and some books have to do with one group of characters. Some books have to do with another group of characters. I just finished book 4, which is all about Death taking on an apprentice, which is kind of awesome. So as far as Discworld goes, imagine you guys both did D&D.
Yes.
Okay. So imagine a blind game run by the most psychotic DM you know.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, that's pretty much what Discworld is.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I like my best friend handed me the first book in the series. I read it, and it was kind of like that scene from Generations where Data's like, I hate this. You want some more? Yes, please. So I just like handed this back to him, like, this is the most screwed up thing I've ever read. Give me the next one.
Well,
there is that element of like train wreckishness.
Yeah, well, it's rough when you read the description on Wikipedia. It says, set on the Discworld, a flat planet balanced on the backs of 4 elephants, which in turn stand on the back of a giant turtle. I'm like,
yes.
Okay.
And scene.
Right. Okay.
Well,
that's the start of a really,
I must have missed that episode.
Rough improv.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it was like you
still want to do improv with you guys.
You sail too far out into the ocean and you drop off the disc.
Well, does the elephant catch you before you hit the turtle? Because elephants have trunks.
I guess maybe. I'm not, like I said, I'm not far enough into the series where they've actually interacted with any of the elephants.
And what do the elephants eat?
I don't know. They don't say. It's not meant to make sense. It's a slightly used universe.
It's not meant to make sense.
Slightly used things make sense.
Yeah, it's a slightly backwater universe. It's from the mind of Terry Pratchett. I mean,
okay, not going to make sense.
You guys read or watched Good Omens?
Oh yeah, I watched Good Omens.
Yeah, he co-wrote that with Neil Gaiman. So.
Yep, and that was a great. By the way, we haven't talked about that in a long time. That is a great series. That's on Amazon Prime Video. Definitely worth watching.
Definitely worth watching. Definitely worth picking up either the audiobook, which Neil does, reads. Sorry. Chopper.
Hopefully not in your apartment.
No.
Okay. She's like, oh, they're looking for me. Having flashbacks to the little things.
No. Or the audio drama that they did, which is fabulous. It's really fun.
Okay. Well, I would definitely recommend.
Lord, how many books are there in the Discworld series?
All of them, Lou.
Lots.
473. But there's only one season of Good Omens, so go watch Good Omens.
On Audible.
There's only one book for Good Omens.
There you go. That too. Speaking of which,
we're
going to get to this in the next episode when we cover the news, but the radio drama for The Sandman by Neil Gaiman just got picked up for a 2nd and 3rd season.
Oh, cool.
So anyway, moving on. So The Watch, Carrie, you would recommend it to Lou or no?
I would. There are 41 novels in the Discworld series.
That's about 36 too many.
Good Lord.
But they're all this short.
Okay. For those for our audio listeners, she's holding her fingers up like 3/4 of an inch or something. I don't know. You're
They're all
short, so I
about,
can't. I don't have a sense of scale.
A couple of 100 pages.
Okay.
They're fast.
Okay.
At least they are so far.
So they're not Stephen King style.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
No. And they're not Good Omens length either.
Okay.
Good Omens is a good 500, 600 pages.
Have you guys? Okay. So my take on the watch, Lou. I'm 3 episodes in, and it's. I'm halfway through the 3rd episode, and it's good enough that I'm curious and I want to keep continuing, but I'm not hooked enough yet to be like, man, I got to watch the next episode.
Okay.
So, but it definitely might be.
Fair enough.
Have you guys watched The Stand? I didn't have that on my list, but you mentioned Stephen King.
It's on my list.
What's that?
Yeah, I've been watching through it. Yeah.
I just finished
I'm behind, but
I was impressed. I really feel like this is the best version they've done yet by far.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I liked the way they kind of, instead of doing it purely chronologically throughout the book, they kind of start when people are coming to Colorado, and then they'll kind of flash back to the earlier moments for the different people as they arrive. And I think the pacing of the story works a lot better that way. The acting was great. The presentation of the story, it felt a lot less cartoonish than some of the other versions.
Okay.
I was really impressed. It's good. Yeah, it's worth going out of your way for.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
So
I think we're all watching Resident Alien, aren't we?
yes.
Yeah, I am.
I am too.
Definitely, yeah.
That is strange.
You've got what, 3 episodes so far?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
It's fun. Like, it's really not that deep. It feels like a sitcom that's less about comedy and more about just it's cute and take a deep breath and just kind of relax and enjoy it. Like it's kind of cathartic. It's kind of what I need right now.
Mm-hmm. It's a good thing to watch. You don't have to really think too hard.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's a fun ride.
I enjoyed the first 2 episodes more than I have the 3rd one. I think it's settling into a bit of a rut, maybe. I mean, I'm not trying to turn people off from seeing it because I think it's still good, but it's yeah, but it seems like we're getting into like, okay, we got to move the story along a little bit too. You know, it didn't seem.
Here's the danger.
As
I don't think you're going to get that. I think what's going to happen is this is going to be the fish out of water thing where it's going to be him settling into the community and finding his place in the community. And it's not going to be about any bigger story. And it's going to be the Doc Hollywood of,
well, he does
this
have
is
a mission.
the end of Doc Hollywood and what happens afterwards. He does have a mission, but I also kind of feel like that's just like the thing that's looming over your head to get you to the season finale. I don't think we're going to hit a lot of it on the way.
Right.
Bits and pieces,
True.
just to remind you, there is a thing later.
And we had the 2 other characters that we introduced that were in New Mexico, I think.
Yeah.
That we're not sure who or they are, but I'm like,
they're the space cops.
Okay, you know, yeah.
They might be Men in Black for all we know. I haven't read the comic book that this is based on.
I haven't either.
No, I haven't either. Yeah. Okay. So Carrie, since you are our new resident here,
resident alien.
Resident alien, yeah. Why don't you run through what you've been primarily seeing and just things that you enjoy in general?
Well, okay, so Batwoman and Black Lightning are back, so I've been watching those.
How rough is the 2nd season of Batwoman?
It's not bad. I like it. I like what they're doing. It looks like they promised that they were not actually going to kill off Kate Kane because the showrunners are at least aware that the bury your gays trope is a trope that really needs to go away.
And no spoilers, by the way.
And but so I won't spoil what they've revealed so far, but they've promised that what you think you're seeing is not what you're actually seeing. But the new Batwoman is really cool. I like her.
Okay.
We finally get get footage of the Batmobile. So yay.
Mm-hmm.
The Batmobile is awesome.
That's that little thing, Lou, when Batman was a baby up above his crib. It had little spinning, it played music, little bats on it.
We already had the old joke for the night, Eric. We're done.
We're never done, Lou.
No, we're never done. Oh boy. And I think they're introducing Black Mask this season, so that's going to be interesting.
Okay.
WandaVision, I know the two of you are also watching it.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't talk about it here because we have a whole show dedicated to it.
Yeah, we can't. Yeah,
dang it, Tim.
But the mind bleepery is very, very cool.
It's getting better. Like a lot of people have been commenting, especially in our Discord and other places online too, that if they didn't trust the MCU and if they didn't know that there was a place this was going, they wouldn't have stuck with it through the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Me too. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a slow burn.
This is not where I would push someone into Marvel.
No, this is not your introduction to the MCU.
No, this is not, definitely not.
No.
Yeah, and I'll say this one thing about it, even though we're not covering it on the show, but I'm all about the most recent episodes they've had where it's a good mix of what they're trying to do with the 70s or 80s TV show in the story of what we're getting, because it's a good mix. The first 2 or 3 episodes, it was like really bad sitcom from the 50s. I'm like, and there was no story. I'm like, nah.
I think you needed that as a setup before we.
It was a really long setup.
Honestly, the worst episode was the first one.
I semi-agree.
The first episode, there was that one moment that now when you go back to and you know what's going on, and we kind of figured it out earlier too, but now it's creepy, the dinner scene where the guy's choking.
Oh, yeah.
But other than that, like, they did the right thing releasing 2 episodes at once, because if that was the first episode and then you had to wait a week, word of mouth would have been atrocious.
Yeah, people would have been jumping ship like crazy.
Yeah. So that first episode really was the worst episode, and I want to say it wasn't useless, but it was almost like that one scene saved it, and you did have to kind of plant an environment to then get to that point. So you couldn't not have that episode. But really, that was right. But the clever use of the different generations of sitcoms was really clever.
Yeah, it's done
and
well.
I love how they keep getting further and further away from presenting it as a comedy to now it's like super creepy. I mean, for the MCU anyway, it's like the way things are like watching people be just mentally broken like that can be really creepy.
And at the same time, you have the progression of eras of television, which I find fascinating.
Yeah, the styles of
Jerry to Inuyasha, and I don't think either of you are big anime people, so I will leave it at that. If you like Inuyasha,
I was gonna say God bless you because I thought you sneezed.
If you like Inuyasha, watch Yashahime. It's fun. And then American Gods is back. The 5th episode just dropped last night. Oh
yeah, yep.
And that is still a gorgeous show. I admit that along with a bunch of other people, I was torn with whether or not I wanted to watch this season because of the whole Orlando Jones debacle. And I was of 2 minds when they announced that. It's like, well, for one thing, Mr. Nancy isn't in this part of the book, but they've managed to flesh out so many of the other characters that they could have kept him around. And Orlando Jones was one of the more perfect castings in the series. So I'm sad to see him not coming back, but they have just been nailing it with the material so far. And I'm not sure if they're finishing up the book this season or if they're going to go another season with it. I think they have enough material that they could do either, because the book is just that dense.
Okay. I watched the first season. I never continued it past that. So I'm pretty far behind on it, but
it's gorgeous.
I did read the book.
You did read the book?
Ages ago, back when it came out.
Yeah. Well, and the book is 20 years old this year too. So
right.
Wow. Now I feel old.
Yeah.
You are old, Eric.
Me too. We're all old. Not as old as
No, I mean, if you combine us, though, we're pretty close, Carrie.
Carrie, we're giving you back.
Oh. I barely get to record with you, Lou, so I have to give you crap.
That's true. Start because we have an idea we're working on.
Get your jabs in now, because
still have to flesh that out.
Now that you have your camera, we're all set. We can start working on this.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, Orlando Johnson and Ian McShane were two, like, the casting was spot on, and the casting of Mr. World has been phenomenal, and they've even started to change up who's playing Mr. World now, or Ms. World, depending on who's showing up each week, it's fascinating. And just knowing how the book runs out, that's just like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing now. Okay, cool. I'm not giving any more spoilers than that.
Cool.
And then stuff I've been watching recently, this morning, I watched Judas and the Black Messiah, which is about the FBI's infiltration of the Illinois Black Panther Party and the assassination of Fred Hampton.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fabulous. Daniel Kaluuya plays Fred Hampton, and it's sad that this was the mindset of why it's like they were basically trying to equate the Black Panthers and the Klan, and like no, the Klan was not trying to fund soup kitchens and stuff. They were doing something.
One was
completely
more
different.
An offensive organization, and one was a defensive organization.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like you start to realize, what started to freak the FBI out was that, the Black Panthers were organizing with all of the poor people in Chicago. And it's like, oh, well, what's the line from Rise of Skywalker? There are more of us.
Mm-hmm.
And what do the people in power fear? Like when all the poor people stop fighting each other and just start fighting the people at the top. So yeah. It's
been getting a lot of great critical reviews.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched it. It just came out like within the last few days. Mm-hmm. I think it's on HBO Max, and I think it was one of the ones that was also a theatrical same day release. I think.
Maybe I really haven't been paying attention to what's coming out in the theaters
matters
lately. So
even the theaters haven't been paying attention to what's coming out in the theaters. It's yeah.
So kind of in tandem with that, I watched this documentary that the First Lady of California directed called The Great American Lie, and it's about basically it's kind of the same thing. It's like it's shedding a spotlight on systemic poverty and all of the things that keep, like, the mindset of how in the 80s we started moving away from this idea of collectivism and everyone working together and more towards this this whole Reagan and Thatcheristic idea of rugged individualism, and we all have to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and stuff. And well, you can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps if you don't have shoes and stuff like that. So that was fascinating, kind of sad to watch. But yeah, and then I also watched One Night in Miami, which it's not Regina King's directorial debut, but it's her first major motion picture.
Okay.
And it's based off of a stage play, and it's the meeting after the Cassius Clay. I am terrible at sports.
We'll talk later. I'll brief you on some things.
I don't quite trust you, Eric, on that.
Hey, I watched that whole Superb Owl thing last week. And I even paid attention, so I'm like an expert on it now.
Okay, so it's a meeting after if you know sports, you know which Muhammad Ali fight we're talking about. This is the fight before he changed his name to Muhammad Ali. It's Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Jim Brown, and Sam Cooke. The meeting is real, but the conversation is fictionalized because nobody knows what they actually talked about. But they all know that they got together because there's photographic evidence.
Okay.
And it's fascinating to watch, and I highly recommend it. Regina King just nailed it.
Cool.
With this. The next two Eric is not going to appreciate because they're period pieces. I caught up on Britannia, which is like Roman era Britain, Romans versus Druids. Our favorite galactic emperor, Ian McDiarmid, is in the first half of the first season. Sorry. And it's really good. I don't recommend watching it while eating.
Good. That's good to know.
Yeah. And then I started the Hollow Crown today, which is they basically strung together all of Shakespeare's history. So it goes from Richard II to Richard III, and they've just a series of 2-hour movies. So I started the first one today, and that was pretty fun.
Okay.
Or pretty good. I wouldn't say fun, but it's Shakespeare.
Oh, yeah, not at all fun unless you have a translator.
Yeah, you guys aren't all. Yeah, you guys aren't at all interested.
No.
But sometimes there's just the turns of phrase. Let's make haste. Hopefully, we're too late.
Yeah, no, I mean he was a clever writer. Like I said, I don't speak his language. Literally.
Right.
Or literarily, also.
Yeah.
See, because
anyway,
literary.
That's pretty much all the highlights.
Yeah. Okay.
For me.
Okay. Let's see. I don't have nearly as much as you do, and probably as much as Eric does either.
I've got like 2 things, so I don't know.
Well, maybe we're in the same boat then. I will say that I have been loving season 3 of Discovery.
Yay!
So I kind of binged through season 2, and I'm working on season 3 now. And I actually love this season of it.
Yay!
Wasn't sure where they're going to go. Season 2 was a bit kind of strange from where season 1 was, but they're both good in their own right.
I know there are people who are still catching up and aren't through season 2 yet, and it's hard to talk about season 3 without spoiling season 2.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to say anything about it, but I like the direction they went. I thought it was unique. I thought it was a great way to, how do you tell a story about a ship that is arguably more advanced than what it was supposed to be designed from, and not interrupt, the current timelines and everything. And they've done a good job with how they place
a very brave move in storytelling. I was really surprised they went in that direction, and they pulled it off.
Yeah.
And I've also these are not spoilers, but I'm also loving the nods to some of the people we've lost in the last few years. So there have been nods to the USS Nog, which is for Aaron Eisenberg, who passed away last year or 2 years ago. There's there was a USS Yelchin for Anton. They managed to work Spock into the story without getting too spoilery, but one of the episodes is called Unification 3, and you have to wait 1,000 years to get part 3 of Unification. So if you remember TNG at all.
So definitely loving that. Otherwise, I watched 7 again. I saw it years ago, but watched it again because we're going to be covering that on Movie Chatter this week. Kind of a follow-up to what we did with Little Things. So,
and Robin had never seen it.
Great movie.
Robin had never seen 7.
Oh, that's right. She hadn't. Oh, I can't wait to talk to her about this thing because I've seen it. My wife has seen it. We're watching it, finishing it last night, and we get to the end, I'm always like, oh, I forgot about the end. I'm like, how could you forget about
That's
the
like
end?
the one thing that's.
Yeah. But
I started it again tonight, but
definitely good. But it's funny how the car. It's like, wow, it's only 1985, but the cars look like they're in like the 60s. I'm like, anyway, definitely a fun movie. We mentioned Babylon 5 a little while ago. I am going through that chronologically, so I'm in season 1 right now, just watching that kind of in the background as I'm doing stuff in the basement.
I just pick and choose episodes. When it first dropped on HBO Max, I went to my go-to, which comes the Inquisitor, which is is a phenomenal episode in and of itself, but it kind of works with my unintentional fascination with Jack the Ripper, which is the only serial killer I actually.
It's just fun to go through it. I mean, I'm going through it from season 1 on, and it's just fun because I know where the story goes now, but you see how we wove things in there and where things fell. It's so awesome to watch that again and know where it's going.
I'm going to say something about Babylon 5 real quick. It's obvious to everybody I'm a Star Wars fan. Everybody knows I'm into Star Wars, but there are 2 franchises that are at least at that level or higher. One is the first generation of Transformers. When I was a kid, that was like my thing. And the other is Babylon 5. I have watched the entire series. I stopped counting at 11 times. And I lost the videotapes for season 4 at one point. So I've seen the complete series. I stopped counting at 11 times. Minus season 4, I mean, we're probably well over 20 times. So when I go back and rewatch now, I skip a lot of season 1 because there was some bit like
there's some rough
TKO,
episodes in season 1, but
I can't handle that one.
Great episodes
can't handle
that lay the groundwork.
Yeah. No, there's some Babylon Squared, for example. That's a must-see episode. You can't not see that one. There are definitely Chrysalis. There are definitely good episodes, but it's a little hard to get people started on it now because it's kind of the end of that 1990s style of sci-fi. You had kind of the 80s and 90s. The Next Generation, everything is brightly lit and clean. And then immediately after that, we jump into the Battlestar Galactica remake. And that's when everything got dark, like literally visually darker. And so Babylon 5 is the end of that. But the storytelling is absolutely brilliant. I'm trying to get Lila to watch that for us bringing back the Story Crucible. We're also watching Fleabag, and she loves Sense8, which was also written by Straczynski. And so I was telling her about Babylon 5, and I think I've got her interested in watching it. But man, what a great series! So good.
I've since digitized my entire DVD library, but at some point I really need to replace my copy of season 4 because the last disc is damaged. Right. The episode where Bester reveals what he's been doing to Garibaldi.
Okay.
And the disc is damaged right at that one moment where Bester explains everything. I'm like,
that's rough.
I cannot find. I used to have the scripts for the 2 unaired episodes of Crusade. One of which is the one where they find Garibaldi.
Oh yeah.
And the other one was just a complete mind trip regarding Technomages and like where the entire series was going to go from that point on. And then I don't have Legends of the Rangers anymore, and I don't have the 2 shorts that they did. It was a disc that the Lost Tales. I don't have those anymore.
Lost Tales. Yep.
Anyway,
I have them all.
The entire series was just remastered. Entire series. I don't know about the movies, but the regular episodes.
The
movies aren't there. It's just the series.
On HBO Max, they are in full screen, not letterbox, but they fully remastered all of it, except The Gathering, except the pilot movie that was remastered back in, I want to say, the late 90s, early 2000s, 2003 maybe. So they didn't remaster that one.
2000s.
But starting with Midnight on the Firing Line, which is officially the first episode of season 1, all remastered. They did a really good job.
And it's weird because apparently they list The Gathering as episode 1, and that's not right.
But
but they did that when they when they came back out again.
That's true.
It wasn't the first episode, but it was called that, really. And then they had, what, 2 or 3 TV movies, Third Space, and a bunch of other
like Third Space.
Well, and then there was this whole, when it was originally aired, like they would cut the seasons weird. So when I didn't really get into watching it until around season 3, and they pretty much billed World Without End Part 1 as the end of the 3rd season, and then the rest of season 3 was actually the first part of season 4, which is just weird.
Interesting. But yeah, so I've been going through that. I've been loving that. Mentioned WandaVision already, Resident Alien, yeah, and I've also been doing the latest Star Wars book, Into the Dark. Claudia Gray.
Yeah, I just started that last.
Probably know. Yeah, I'm about halfway through. Really good stuff. Eric, what have you been up to?
I also started that, but didn't get very far into it yet. Not much watching this last week. As I said, I watched what is, in my recollection, the worst Super Bowl ever. Don't normally watch sports, but I typically, sometimes I'll catch the Super Bowl. The last few years I've been watching it, and I thought last year's was really good. And this one, everybody was saying, oh, it's going to be so competitive. And, and just, oh my gosh, what a train wreck. The only other thing I've watched that we haven't already mentioned was I watched A Glitch in the Matrix, which was a documentary that just came out. And it is about the idea of, and now I forgot the term for it, but simulation theory. And there are a lot of very, very prominent people who believe this. But Philip K. Dick was one of the first people who kind of brought it to the forefront. Elon Musk has talked about it a lot. The idea that we are in a simulation. And when you actually delve into some of the reasoning, I'm not saying I believe it, but like there's logic behind it that makes it a really interesting thought exercise. And I thought the documentary was like, it was good enough that I think they could have gone in some additional directions and maybe some better directions with it. But I think it did a pretty good job of introducing people to the concepts and kind of explaining why there is, like, why people aren't just immediately laughed at for bringing it up, because there are ways in which there's logic to the theory.
I've heard Neil deGrasse Tyson explain why he doesn't think that we're living in a simulation. I actually just pulled up one of the videos on it right now, but I can put it into Discord.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Or into the chat. And his explanations make a lot of sense too.
Yeah.
And
no,
he's on the other side of
but to
he's
me,
a pretty smart guy sometimes. Yeah.
It's fun to take a look at this and just as a thought experiment, just kind of toss it back and forth. And I'm not suggesting anybody should believe any of this stuff. And the documentary doesn't try to get you to believe it either. The documentary is focusing on people who do believe it. And in fact, there is one person who was so convinced that this happened. I think it was actually in Virginia. He killed his family thinking that, it was the Matrix, and he's just basically waking them up, and they're simulations anyway. They don't, it's not real. And so there's some audio interview clips later on in the documentary from this individual. And I kind of understood that he regrets that now, and he's been getting some mental help, but it's, and I don't know that he's ever going to get out of prison. Like it doesn't focus on that, but it includes that. It was interesting. It's worth watching. It's, again, it's interesting enough that if you like philosophical debate, if you like thought experiments, it's fun. It's easy enough to get into the presentation from the documentary.
Okay.
It's a good watch.
I mean, I saw the trailer for it, and it interested me because I like that concept in sci-fi in general. You know,
I
as far
love
as
that in sci-fi.
You know, using that
13th
in a sci-fi
room
story.
and-
13th Room, yep. There was a couple episodes of Star Trek dealing with that, and some other stuff.
And
that
they
had
include some
episodes
stuff
or
from
something
things
on
like that in it, Dark City.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the concept in general. So then seeing about people who think we could actually be in that, which again, I disagree with, but it's an interesting thought. It's, oh, gee, what if?
Mm-hmm.
Like the what if aspect of it, I find fascinating. So that was good. That's really the only new thing I've watched. Talking about books and stuff, I have started reading some of like the recent relaunch of the X-Men series of comics from like 2 years ago, I think 2019.
Okay.
I don't like it yet. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm like in the first or second issue of like 5 or 6 of the different relaunched series. So I'm going to give it 4 or 5 issues before I decide which ones I want to watch, read and not, because there's still, it's like the pilot episode of a TV series. I know I'm interested in the characters, not sure I like where it's going, but I need to give it enough time to see if that's actually where it's going or not. So we'll see. And then finally, it's been a long time I've been trying to get into an MMORPG. And Carrie, I know you play Star Wars: The Old Republic, and I played that, and I like it. You and I aren't always able to play in the same schedule, and I know for a while you couldn't really do multiplayer because of your internet connection. Rusty in our Discord server, I would love to sit down and play with that guy because like he's a great guy. City of Heroes, I keep meaning to go back to it, but I'd really like to get into something that's still like actively being produced with new content and stuff like that. I played Dark Age of Camelot way back in the day. WoW is still big and there's a big resurgence for it, but I haven't known anybody who's been playing. So I met someone who does play. They got me into it, got me into their guild, just started recently. I still have my old characters, but you know, I re-rolled from scratch, and I have to say I'm loving it. I forgot how much I enjoyed this game. It's very easy to get into, and if you know, like if you have anybody in the game to play with, that makes it that much more fun. I'm like just immediately I'm already hooked again. So
cool.
Very happy about it.
SWTOR is pretty much the only thing I have the energy for at the moment. I need to get back to Kingdom Hearts at some point, but I just keep logging into SWTOR. And yeah, our guilds are up to like level 11.
Oh, nice.
Each.
Good.
So, you know, if ever you guys log in, it'll be much easier to level up. I can tell you that.
Cool.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, if anybody's interested in playing Knights of the Old Republic, definitely hit Carrie up in the Discord.
Yeah.
And she'll get you hooked up.
Especially because if I ever decide to roll new characters, I'm gonna need at least one person to log in
to invite you into the guild. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, that's all I got. So I guess that's gonna do it.
Okay.
Right?
I guess it does.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that does it for this episode of Random Chatter. Sorry it ran a little bit long, but you know, I think there's a lot of good recommendations in there for things for people to check out. Carrie, thank you for hanging out with us.
Yeah. I apologize for rambling on, but you guys don't let me.
That's okay. You don't get to spill your guts that often on what you've been watching. Right. So, you know, it's good to bring in some fresh blood sometimes because our audience in the audio only stuff can't see me pointing my thumb at Lou over there. But fresh blood is nice sometimes. So anyway, that's gonna. Wow, I'm getting the glare. He's like, "Where's the button I can space him?" Yeah, right.
I need that.
So go to randomchatter.com/YouTube and hit that subscribe button and that like button. Put some comments down below if you'd like. And there's another button down there that'll give you notifications anytime we post new episodes on YouTube, which we do several times a week. So be sure to check those out. We also have a lot of other podcasts that we do that are audio only, including several that Carrie are on, such as DC Talk, Caped Chronicles, Enter the Dojo, the Sci-Fi Pubcast, which is not on the Random Chatter Network, but she's also on that. She's also our administrator for the website and helps us administer Discord. And we keep her very, very busy, and we are very grateful for Carrie. So it was nice to have her on this episode. And she's going to do our news show with us in just a moment, which brings me to my next point. It's Monday night, but typically on Sunday nights, we record these live. So if you want notifications of that, again, that notification button there on YouTube or the Discord server, those are the best ways to find out when we're going to be live. You can come participate in the chat room. We have several people there. Hi, everybody. Right now, as I'm speaking, and we're grateful for all of you who hang out with us live in chat. But we do have several other audio podcasts. RandomChatter.com is the best place to catch those. And we're going to be back later this week. I don't know, we haven't picked a day, maybe Thursday this week for Movie Chatter, where we are going to be covering 7. And that's going to do it. So thank you for hanging out with us. If you're here live, stick around for about maybe another 5 minutes or so, and we're going to do our news show, and then we are going to sign off for the night. So until then, take care.